What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Welcome out, all of you great decoders around the world, both male and female. My name is Logan, and this, of course, is Decode Your Reality. And today I'm bringing out a brand new series. I just have so much content, and due to the attention span of most people, I felt like doing a new series where I break down something very quickly with a few slides and show you this scripted reality. So this is the very first one, and I'm going to start with this guy right here, Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer. And if you don't know this guy's story, he was a cannibal. I've always been kind of really interested in serial killers. Like, why do they do what they do? And are they doing it? Are they in control of their own lives? Well, if you go, there have been documentaries on this guy. He supposedly killed 17 people. In the story, if you go and read about this, the whole story, it's very horrific. From the start of when he first killed and just all the way up to like what he was doing, and just really disgusting. But nonetheless, I didn't get a lot of traction on this one, but I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Folks, what I'm going to show you, this guy's life was not his own. It just wasn't. And I feel like this is how our reality works right here. This movie came out in 1973, now made by HBO as a series called Westworld. I've decoded a little bit of this. And if you start to study this concept to where it's basically people get to pay and visit an interactive amusement park, which is not real. Now, are there sentient beings coming down here into this reality because they want to play the game? And essentially, it's real to us, but we're living in the Truman Show. We're living in Westworld. That's how I feel this works. That's the only logical explanation for all these things that we're seeing, all the nightmares and the suffering and just the craziness that goes on the world stage. And this one should completely nail in the coffin right here with this dude right here. I mean, think about it. Getting this script, coming down and becoming a cannibal. They did a lot of interviews with this guy, or some interviews with this guy, but nonetheless, here's the script, folks. Now, I'll let you be the judge whether or not you think these people's lives were their own. I think it was completely scripted. They didn't have a choice. Look at the timestamp of these two guys right here. Now, Jeffrey Dahmer on the left was the Milwaukee killer. And Christopher Scarver right here was the guy who actually killed Jeffrey Dahmer when he was locked up in Columbia Correctional Institution. Right here. That's Jeffrey Dahmer. Here's Christopher Scarver. And he actually killed two people. He killed his girlfriend as well. That's how he originally went into prison. But I want you to take a look at the timestamp of these two guys. And you tell me if you think this is scripted or not. And folks, is it the Jesuits doing it? Is it the Masons that are running this? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Where are we going to start to get a grip on this reality to realize that mankind's not in control of it? Look at the timestamp of these two. Their birthdays. 3,333 days in between these two guys' births. Christopher takes out Jeffrey in prison. And, the comedy to me is this guy has Christ in his name. So here's the antagonist. And even though this guy was a murderer, he's got the Christ in his name. And he's the protagonist, taking out Jeffrey Dahmer in prison, killing him. And look at the timestamp. It's got the Christ numbers in there. Folks, you got to be the judge here. I'm not going to twist your arm, but I already know what I see, and I've decoded over 300 things now. Keep going further right here, taking away the years of when they were born. Just the days on the calendar, 47 days in between. 47 being the 15th prime number, 15 being the devil card in the tarot, 47 being the tetragrammaton, the Israelite God of the Bible. Is that what happens? Is it just the sentience? Is it energy outside of our reality coming down here and playing out its own game, and that can become anybody it wants? That's just how I see how it works. There's really no other explanation for all this kind of stuff. I mean, there it is. I did a decode on this. If you haven't seen it, I hope you have. Scripted Reality 47. The timestamp in between these two guys' birthdays, not counting the years, 47. These guys' lives were not their own, ladies and gentlemen. They just weren't. Mankind's being used. That's my final answer right now. And I mean, even we go further. Christopher taking the life of Jeffrey Dahmer when he was in prison. Here's his birth card on July 6th. July 6th being the 76 being the Wizard of Oz. This guy's life was not his own. He's got this 9 of Diamonds card, and then Jeffrey Dahmer's got the card number 24, the Jack in the Box. 24 being tied to the X chromosomes. But I mean, why I have Neo here is because Keanu Charles Reeves, being born on September 2nd, he also has the 9 of Diamonds. And he was the savior. He was the Christ figure in the movie The Matrix. So here you have a guy who took out Jeffrey Dahmer. And he's got Christ in his name. And he's got the same birth card as Keanu Charles Reeves, who played the One. Neo is the One. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? You can't get any more scripted than this. Folks, Hollywood and this stuff really happened, these two guys. It's not the Masons, it's not the Jesuits. They have nothing to do with this stuff. Nothing. It's energies outside of this reality that are running it, and we're playing the game of life, which I showed in my scripted reality. 59 being the 17th prime number. We're all actors and actresses on the world stage playing out our roles. We're playing the game of life. Going back to these two guys' cards right here, it's pretty crystal clear. 24 plus 35, 59. Game of life. And do we just have a contract with God? I mean, is that how it works? We don't know. This is all theoretical. But I mean, are we up in energies outside of this reality and be like, hey, I want to go play the game? What do you want to go be? What do you want to go be? I want to go be a killer. Because you know it's not real. Just like this movie right here. They go to this, it's not real. They can go kill people, they're not real, they're robots. Now I know you're not a robot. I'm not a robot. But the story kind of starts to make sense. And if you've seen the show Westworld on HBO, well, I mean, I don't even need, I'm in season 4 right now. Says it exactly what I'm telling you here. Exactly what I'm saying right here with these two guys, the game of life and the contract with God. So going a little bit further, if you take their full names in numerology and you add them up, you get the 147. Why I'm showing March 14th, because that's Pi Day. And Pi Day having a common and leap year, 73 and 74. Remember, the blood stain I have there is because our blood's pH is 7.3, 7.4. And I mean, that's what when you come down to play the game, you come in pi. 3.3 is the three-dimensional space. 3.14, 14 is time. That's how this works. And this was a perfect example. 73 and 74, 147. 147. And going a little bit further, this right here is the full numerology of Halo, which is Lucifer, the light bringer. And you'll notice Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer is a 75. His middle name, his father's name was Lionel. There's the lion tied to Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic demiurge tied to Lucifer, the light bringer that runs the movie. So if you start to use these concepts of what I'm saying, what conclusions can you draw right here as a scripted reality? And this right here, this is going further. This statement, nothing white people do to blacks is just. I go to Chris's page right here, and you come down, and when he was when he was in prison, and then he was quoted right here. Scarver was quoted as having said, "Nothing white people do to blacks is just." And you can go read about it. I'd suggest go read these stories. Do you think people are trying to mock you by putting this stuff in parentheses? Like, people are actually sitting down on Wikipedia and they're coding this stuff to get it just like this to mock you and screw you over? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. We're living in a scripted reality, man. This reality is not real to whatever's observing us. It's the Westworld, man. You're in it. You're in the Truman Show. And to finalize this scripted reality number one, your last name is very, very unique. Probably goes back thousands of years. You can take your first and middle name if you have one, separate that, and bring your last name into this. So it's Dahmer and Scarver. And this, to me, is just the humor to finalize this scripted reality number one. Dahmer and Scarver, 43. What is 43 tied to? Whoops. How about tied to the word Hollywood? You're in a movie, folks. I know we call this real life. I know people get murdered. I know people really get killed. But whatever's observing us, it's television. It's entertainment. It's not like when you turn on a movie and you watch the movie that was made by Hollywood, is it real? Okay, and you're going to say, no, it's not real. Well, then why do you get emotionally involved with the movie? Because you can't tell whether what's real and what's not when you're engrossed in the movie. 43. I mean, it's right there. And then 43 being the 14th prime number. And then you bring in the medicine cards, the 52 cards in the medicine deck. The spider spins its web, tied to the octopus in Yaldabaoth. And then, of course, we're the dogs down here. The G-O-D spelled backwards. And we're on leashes. 14 is tied to the word time. It's tied to the word God. It's tied to the word Satan. Satan means time. We're all the little devils down here. And I mean, just to show you even more of the comedy, their last names are 43. Hollywood's 43. Where they were locked up at, Columbia Correctional Institution. Look at the latitude. 43 degrees north. You think this is by chance? Pure chance? Do you think that the prison system's trying to screw you over and mock you? Try to pull a willy over your eyes? Or do you think that maybe these two dudes, their lives are scripted? As horrific as it may be. He's got 17 kills, known. This guy's got 3. He's in prison for life. He's dead already. I mean, even the longitude, 89, tied to Yaldabaoth. The Gnostic Demiurge. Folks, we're living in a scripted reality. It's a movie. And that's it. And if you keep putting your energy onto the mainstream, it continues to stay alive. And that's how this game works. Everything needs acknowledgement. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, short and sweet, what did you see? Could have kept going. I'm going to make these. I'm going to probably keep burning these things out. I have so much content. Make them short and sweet. But whatever you got, whatever you saw, read the story. Go watch some of the documentaries. Go research Jeffrey Dahmer. You'll see more. This is just some of it. I had much more to show all of you. But we'd love to hear what you saw. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, for scripted reality number 1, my name is Logan, Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.